sitting on the seat up there. Yeah, he's sitting back there.
On. I didn't want to be, I was out in the courtyard saying hello to everybody. I didn't want to be caught on a hot mic or anything, so I turned it off. But welcome everybody, Unitarian Universalist Church of Sarasota and Lakewood Ranch. It is great to be here. My first Sunday in the pulpit as your settled minister. Thank you. Thank you. So I especially want to welcome everybody, but especially if we have visitors today, as well if you're on live stream as well, welcome. We are on YouTube. If you're in person, I hope you can join us for coffee after the service and or one of our many other programs that we have here throughout the week, sometimes on Zoom, sometimes in person. But if you can, sign up if you're a visitor on our website. There's a button there you can click and you can get on our email list, and so then you can find out about everything that is happening here. Okay, since we have no special announcements today, our opening reading is entitled Ministry Is by the Reverend Gordon McKeeman. Ministry is a quality of relationship between and among human beings that beckons forth hidden possibilities, inviting people into deeper, more constant, more reverent relation with the world and with one another, carrying forward a long heritage of hope and liberation that has dignified and informed the human venture over many centuries, being present with, to, and for others, in their terrors and torments, in their grief and their pain, knowing that those feelings are our feelings too, celebrating the triumphs of the human spirit as well, the miracles of birth and life, the wonders of devotion and sacrifice, witnessing to life's enhancing values, speaking truth to power, standing for human dignity and equity, for compassion and aspiration, believing in life in the presence of death, struggling for human responsibility against principalities and structures that ignore humaneness and become instruments of death. It is all of these and much, much more, all of them present in the wordless, the unspoken, the ineffable. It is speaking and living the highest we know and living with the knowledge that it is never deep or as wide or as high as we wish. Whenever there is a meeting that summons us to our better selves, wherever our lostness is found, our fragments are united, or our wounds begin healing, our spines stiffen, and our muscles grow strong for the task. There is ministry. And now we will light our chalice. We invite you to join in the words of Unitarian. The principle is a symbol of Unitarian Universalism, and we invite you to sing unison our fourth principle, which is up on the screen. We affirm the fourth principle. Please join in. We affirm the fourth principle of Unitarian Universalism, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. And now I invite you to rise in body and or spirit for our opening hymn, number 131 in the gray hymnal, or up on the screen, Love Will Guide Us. I'm ready.
You're ready. Good.
As ready as I'm going to be.
Well, I know that I am super excited to have you join us today, and that we're going to get our ministry together, started. And welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And it is exciting for me as well to be here, my first Sunday with you. I look forward to getting to know everybody better and learn as much as I can.
That's great, because that's what we're going to do today. So you and I have something in common. At least I think we do. You and I have a sense of adventure, and we're willing to try new things and put ourselves out there.
At times.
Okay. Well, if I got it wrong, this next part's probably not going to go so well. So anyway.
Rock climbing, maybe not.
Okay. All right. So we're going to find out. So I had the opportunity earlier this year to attend a workshop, an interfaith workshop. And of course, we had a variety of people there, not just from diverse religious backgrounds, but in gender and in age and in race and in culture and in all kinds of things, education, and just, it was wonderful. But one of the things that we did in this workshop that was so meaningful was that we tried to build trust within our group and with each other. And one of the ways that we did that was each of us shared a memory or an event that helped shape us as to who we are. Now, we did this as a way to break down just the superficial. You know, where do you work? You know, what is your favorite color? Those types of things.
Green, by the way, just in case anybody
Yeah,
wants to know.
okay.
Okay.
That will not be one of the questions. Okay. So anyway, it was just such a meaningful thing as a way to actually truly get to know somebody. So, and it reminded me of this program, a video that I watched by Soul Pancake, if you've ever seen that. Anyway, what they did was they put this ball pit out on a street corner, invited people to sit in the ball pit, pick up a ball, and answer a question, like, describe your first love, just as a way to get to know each other. So, Reverend Jay?
I'm ready.
No, you're not going in the ball pit. Sorry, I'm not throwing you in the ball pit. No, that's not going to be you. But we'll have something very similar to that. So I'm hoping that you're going to be excited about that.
I'm ready.
Okay. Can I have a couple of young volunteers come and pick a question for Reverend Jay to answer for us? Anybody? Anybody? Come on, just anybody. Walk right up here. That's all I need. Just walk right up. Come on, Alex.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, choose a question out of here. And the question is?
What is something most people don't like but you do?
Most people don't like, but I do. Well, I like, and I don't know that, it's interesting, I don't want to presume what other people like and don't like, but I don't see it eaten often. But I like pickled herring. Have you ever eaten pickled herring? Or chopped liver?
Oh.
Really? Wow. Well, maybe more people like it than I know, but I never see it anywhere. So I'm going with that.
Okay, that's great. Alex, you want to pick one?
What is the yuckiest thing you have ever eaten?
Chopped liver.
No.
No, I'm sorry. That wasn't for me. That was for you.
The yuckiest thing I have ever eaten. And I admit, I like a lot of different foods, but when I was out west, that's a good question. When I was out west on a vacation, I tried rattlesnake once. Yes, right. It was like really hard, and maybe it was just not cooked well, but it was really hard and chewy, and there really was not a lot of meat on it. So, and it was very bony. So that would be my answer for that.
All right, one last question. We're going to let Robin choose.
Would you rather have a pet dragon or a magic carpet? Why?
A pet dragon or a magic carpet? Oh, good. Oh, my. That's tough. And, especially after watching Game of Thrones, the whole pet dragon thing has like a whole different connotation now. But I'm going to go with pet dragon because... although they're very powerful, they can both fly, the magic carpet. And I just think about, if anybody's a comic book fan, Peter Parker's father, Ben Parker, said, with great power comes great responsibility. And so I would rather have something with great power that could change the universe for the better. And that's why I would go with the dragon as opposed to the carpet, which would just take me places.
That is awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Alex, and thank you, Robin, for coming up. Thank you, Reverend Jay, for giving us a little opportunity to know you better. So now this Sunday is about getting to know you, and you, the people out here, I have also given you an opportunity to get to know you. Over next to the Lexile wing, I've set up a little area. There's a banner there that says, "Take a seat and make a friend." And on the table in between the two chairs are some questions, very similar to what was just asked. And so find somebody that you don't know that well and sit down and just ask a question. Learn a little bit more about each other. So no ball pit for you. There is a ball pit for the kids on the playground. All right. So, I thought about doing a ball pit for the adults, but then I realized I don't know that I could get in the ball pit, so that was not what we're going to do. Okay, so now, while our interlude is being played, I invite all of our younger UUs to join me in the back of the sanctuary as we go to our classroom and we play more getting to know you games. So thank you.
Yeah, August in Florida, I forgot, so yeah. Or maybe we can lower the thermostat next week, I don't know. So for our centering inwards, a time for contemplation, I wrote a poem for us today called Here We Are. Here we are at the precipice of something new, the known behind us, or as best as we can know, and the unknown ahead. We gather in hope, each with our own hopes, yet also with a hope for the common good. We are not unaffected by, as the world rages, we come together to remember why we believe what we believe. Remember why we do what we do. And remember who we are now, and who we are meant to be. Always learning, always growing, always searching. Here we are at the tipping point of society, after the before times, and wondering what comes next. Here we are, all of us, starting anew. What will we do with this day, with this life? Let us journey together, one moment at a time, and let us make each moment meaningful. Now let us take a minute or so, and if you are comfortable doing so, I invite you to close your eyes and just breathe slowly in and out and contemplate in silence what is or can be meaningful to us as we start this ministry together. W.E.B. Du Bois wrote, "The prayer of our souls is a petition for persistence, not for one good deed or one single thought, but deed upon deed, thought upon thought, until the day calling, until day shall make a life worth living." End quote. And so I invite you to consider the meaning and worth that this church has in your life as we take our offering today. For those online, we invite you, you can donate online. There's a link on the YouTube page right under the video or on our homepage, uucsarasota.com. Please be as generous as you can. Thank you.
Getting to know you, getting to know all about you, getting to like you, getting to hope you like me, getting to know you, putting it my way but nicely. You are precisely my cup of tea. Getting to know you, getting to feel free and easy. When I am with you, getting to know what to say. Haven't you noticed that suddenly I'm bright and because of all the beautiful and new things I'm learning about you day by day. Getting to know you, getting to feel free and easy. When I am with you, getting to know what to say. Haven't you noticed? Suddenly I'm bright and busy because of all the beautiful and new things I'm learning about you day by day.
And thank you to our tech team, Doug and Klaus, for putting that together. And that was Logan, my Australian shepherd and faithful companion. among all my family as well. And so today will be a little more personal, because that is what this is about, us getting to know each other, how to learn about each other, how we will work together collaboratively. And so I thought it was just be nice for you to at least see who my family is. I've always been a searcher in all parts of my life, theologically, personally, professionally. I was raised in the Reformed Jewish faith, and in my young adulthood, I explored Eastern religions before I found Unitarian Universalism in my 20s, where my religious and spiritual exploration was not only accepted, but encouraged. Unitarian Universalism allowed me to integrate the meaningful aspects of my explorations into my religious life. Now, when I left New York and moved to Orlando in the 1990s, I came without a job or even a place to live. But I had faith that a better world awaited me, and that faith was rewarded. Certainly professionally, my transition from being a mild-managed CPA to a compassion-growing, justice-seeking, prophetic preaching minister was about as dramatic a professional shift as I think one can find. I really do. Although maybe some people didn't consider me mild-mannered, but that's another story for another day. It certainly wasn't the plan that my parents had for me, right? I was raised to be on a certain track. My parents, the children of immigrants, both gone to college and became professionals, and they having experienced discrimination in the educational system and the workforce due to their religion, they instilled in me a work ethic to work twice as hard as everybody else to overcome the barriers they feared I would face. And that has stayed with me my entire life, whether that ended up being true or not. What I found, though, not just for me, but for many, is that we are often raised in a culture that puts us on a certain track, right, with certain expectations. And we unconsciously follow those expectations, and then we end up making them our own. You know, work hard, get a good job, earn a good living, maybe a house in the suburbs with a spouse, a dog, 2.3 children. I don't know the 0.3 comes from, but somehow along the way we also did add a cat or two, a bird, and even at 1.6 hamsters. I don't know what we were thinking at that point. But we have now simplified our lives. We live in a 2-bedroom condo with just one dog. So, but early in my life, I was the kind of kid that my parents would get reports from teachers like almost all the time. His head is in the clouds, right? I was a dreamer, right? I was raised on that immigrant belief that if you worked hard enough, anything was possible. But I realized early on this was not completely true. Right? By middle school, after 5 years of playing Little League, I realized I would never be the starting shortstop for the New York Mets, no matter how hard I worked at it. So I knew I had my limits, right? Still, my experience in life has shown me that most people or underestimate what they are capable of. I often say I don't know my limits until I have passed them. And that's an important thing to realize, that you've passed your limits and then back off. But by following the track that was laid down for me, I cut myself off from my dreams. I cut myself off from my inner calling. I cut myself off from the interconnectedness of all that is. I followed that plan. I thought I was searching for the American dream, right? Not my dream, the American dream. I had no idea how it would happen. I didn't even really care how it would happen. I just sort of imagined it would. right? And then a funny thing happened on the way to that plan. My heart just wasn't in it. I was often unsettled in my business profession, often due to the choices I faced that challenged my values. I look back at my old journals and I see a yearning for a life more aligned with my values. And in so many ways, Unitarian Universalism saved me. I fully engaged our third and fourth principles, which include spiritual growth in our congregations and a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. And just as I tried a number of professions and jobs early in my career, I explored many different paths to finding meaning in my life. The most powerful areas that provided me with growth were teaching children's religious education, which I did for 8 years. I believe what you call Chalice circles here, we call them covenant circles. And also being a worship associate was very meaningful. And I would highly recommend each of those to you. I will be doing a worship associate training, probably starting in September. So if that is something you are interested in, let me know. And then I had what I would call a Damascus Road experience. Now, for those not familiar, in the Christian scriptures, the Apostle Paul, before he became a Christian, persecuted Christians mercilessly. And then in the book of Acts, it states, and I quote, "Now as he was going along and approaching Damascus, suddenly around him there shined a light, and he heard a voice," end quote. Now the voice I heard was an inner voice, still and small, and the light that shined in me, I will call it the inner light. And it happened when I led my first worship service as a lay leader. Somewhere towards the end of my service, suddenly all of my angst, all of my searching, all of my uncertainty came to an end. I felt an inner peace that I had never felt before. I would wish that experience for everyone here. And I knew then and there, even though I would not admit it to myself at the time, that I would pursue ministry. I do not believe that this event could have happened without all the time and effort spent building up to it. But that experience was a trigger. And as I mentioned in my candidating week service, I was having lunch with a friend, and I was complaining about my job, and he asked if money were not an issue, right? What would you do for a living? And that was a good question. And because he was a trusted friend, I automatically said it without thinking, without making calculations, without worrying about the ramifications to the seventh generation going forward. I said if money wasn't an issue, I would be a minister. And we both fell silent for a while. And like, did I really say that out loud? And then once I said it out loud, I could not take it back. I had named my intention out loud. And I think that is an important thing to do, to name your intention. It's not enough, but that's where it starts. It makes the intention real and more tangible. And that is why, as Catherine said earlier, it's important to build trust with others so you'll be more willing to open up and explore. So anyway, I did the normal thing I would do when I had a big decision to make at that time in my life. If you can remember, I was a CPA. I took a pad. I put 2 columns, one for pro being a minister, one for negatives for being a minister, and I ranked each of them on a scale of 1 to 10 on each side of the ledger. And it was a long list. I must have had like 20 items on each side. I was really drilling into this. And of course, at the end, it came out tied, right? It's kind of funny how that works out, right? And then in the pro column, I put 100, and I wrote just because. And so it tipped the scales for me. And then I did what any right-minded person would do. I called a therapist and made an appointment. I'm serious, I did. This choice made no cognitive, no rational or logical sense, even to me. But it was calling me, right? All I knew and all I still know is that when I am involved in ministry, my life feels right. And prior to that, my life never seemed imbalanced. It is in this intuitive knowing that I realized my call. And in so doing, in pursuing my call, my life came into balance. Now, interestingly, at the same point, my business career started taking off. Yeah. Now, my parents, of course, they were very rational people. They saw that my career success just coincidental with all my years of hard work up until that point. Now, in my called state of mind, I looked at it as the universe opening up to me and providing me with what I needed to achieve my true inner purpose. Others thought, well, maybe this is a test of whether I really wanted ministry or not. But now, many years later, looking back, what I believe really happened was once I found my path, once I found my purpose, once I found my meaning in life, I found no need to compartmentalize my life into different segments. Work J, parent J, husband J, church J. I was just able to decompartmentalize all of that in my life and be just J, right? As Henry Nouwen, a Catholic spiritualist, said, and I quote, "What is required is to become the beloved in the commonplaces of our daily existence," right? And bit by bit to close the gap that exists between what I know myself to be and the countless specific realities of everyday life, end quote. And in so doing, by integrating who I was with how I acted in the world, I became more authentic in all of my interactions, which not only made me more confident in all that I did, but impacted how I interacted with others, right? And how others interacted with me, which I believe did lead to my success. So what is my call to ministry? It is about building community. It is about empowering others on their religious journey. It is about providing opportunities for people to deepen their relationship and connection to each other and to the church and to the world around them. My call is about transformation, nothing less than that. Transformation of the individual by encouraging them to embrace their search for meaning, transformation of the church by the transformation of individuals, and transformation of our larger community due to the transformation of our church. And I continue to walk daunted with the ambiguities of this life and these choices. And yes, I said daunted, because this is important, big stuff. Daunted knowing there are people out there yearning for meaning, yearning for connection to something greater than themselves. And if we do not provide a way, they will be susceptible to the siren call of despair, or they will be susceptible to a charlatan promising them cheap salvation. So how do we realize who we are? How do we realize our call? Do we use reason or intuition or both? How do we discern what is right? You know, some would say that intuition is the Holy Spirit working through us. I cannot confirm or deny that, and that gives me pause and hope. Others might say intuition may be the lifetime of memories and experiences trapped within our subconscious trying to come to the forward. That as well should give us pause and hope, right? Because much of our subconscious may be the memories of hundreds of generations of evolution telling us to fear this or seek this, right? Something that may not even be relevant anymore. And so we never really know. And so when you are faced with such a choice, when that little voice in your heart, your mind, your soul tells you to do something that seems to go against logic, think, is what I am doing, is what I am going to do make the world a better place? And ultimately, when we look back on our life, we will determine who we were by our actions in the world, by the relationships we have made, and by the love we have given. As we gather this Sunday, I ask you to consider, what actions are we taking that can make our lives worth living? What choices could we make that will make the world a better place? There's an old theory that each minister has a common theme that runs through many of their sermons. As I look back on my years of sermonating, a common refrain I have used is, and I call it, it's the choices we make in life that determine the life we live. And so we should make those choices thoughtfully and consciously. But over time, I have learned that often it is the questions we ask ourselves that guide our choices. And if we ask the wrong questions, we will make the wrong choices. Remember, our principles don't say the search for truth and meaning. They say the responsible search for truth and meaning. We have to ask the right questions to lead us to the right choices. And so I encourage you to ask yourself, what is your true best self? Or what do you want your true best self to be? When are you at your best? What are you doing? What brings balance to your life? What brings peace to your life? What brings passion to your life? But we can't limit it to just that. To paraphrase theologian Frederick Buechner, it is at the intersection of our great passion and the world's great need that we will find our call. And this realization takes courage to consider, because with every choice, we sacrifice something. But to be whole, we sometimes have to sacrifice the status quo. Finding our call is hard work. I like it metaphorically to climbing a mountain. Like you heard me before say I don't like rock climbing, right? So, but from the bottom of the mountain, I don't mind hiking. I like hiking. From the bottom of the mountain, you can't imagine how you're going to get up there, right? But when you're on top, looking back from whence you came, right? Not only is the view beautiful, but the sense of accomplishment is real and fulfilling. I think we can all maybe look back on our lives and see where maybe we've done something hard. And after we've done it, we look back and we can see how meaningful it is. And I would tell you it is never too late, right? But now is the time, no matter how young or no matter how old you are. I have heard there are some older people here in this congregation. I don't know. But it doesn't matter. Different places, different times in our life, we find different meanings, right, and different purposes. But it doesn't mean we should stop looking for that, because now is the time. With an ailing world in need of healing, now is the time, more than ever. With a fractured society in need of wholeness, now is the time to find or create healing and wholeness, not only in our lives, but in the larger community. Martin Luther King Jr. said, and I quote, "No person has learned to live until they can rise above the narrow confines of their individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of all humanity. Length without breadth is like a self-contained tributary having no outward flow to the ocean. Stagnant, still, and stale, it lacks both fire, life, and freshness. In order to live creatively and meaningfully, our self-concern must be wedded to others' concerns," end quote. And that is the secret. By helping others, we help ourselves. By giving of yourself, you gain for yourself. By loving others, you experience what love is. And that is one reason why we come together in community, to practice helping, to practice giving, to practice loving, so we can continually renew ourselves, so that we can learn to live in this way in our life, in the life of this church and in the life of the larger world. May we endeavor to ask the right questions, to make the right choices, and to realize and to act on our values. May it be so. I invite you now to rise in body and or spirit for our closing hymn, number 311, Let It Be a Dance. That is how I ended up in that ball pit before. No. Our closing words are the words of Sister Pat Bergen. May wisdom be present in your discernment, shedding light upon dormant dreams and unfolding paths. May trust invite you to explore the unknown with a hopeful heart. May supportive companions keep vigiling your waiting. May you be blessed with patience and courage in the expression of your true self. May the yearnings of the Spirit call forth generosity and great love. And may your heart be opened always to welcome newness. And now we will extinguish our chalice. I invite you to read along with me. The words will be on the screen as well as in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Thank you for your presence here today.